it's not like a band. The way we sort of did it was we are all the lead singers of bands that on rehearsal day all ended up in the same room by mistake, and then decided like, let's us be a band.
Man, so firstly I was hanging out with Professor Paul back in Hervey Bay. So that's like, what, 300 kilometers north.
Sabby and I we grew up in Hervey Bay in our hometown together. And I mean, that was cool. We both did music back then. We were never like best buds, but we were always quite, like, we'd always have good combos whenever we linked up at like a music events, like outside.
I'd meet him at like just these local acoustic nights when we were busy doing like all cover band stuff and yes, just shit like that. So that's like kind of how our relationship started. But then after he graduated, I was still in high school, and basically we lost contact from that point on.
I was in a new city. Hip hop isn't my first genre. Like rapping is not my first skill that I acquired in music. So I was reaching out and trying to find other people that I could connect with so that I could get better and learn with them.
But I kind of reconnected because I was at the time that I moved to Brisbane making beats and stuff, so we were sending each other stuff back and forth.
When he reached out, yeah, he was making beats at the time and I was trying to rap. It was funny as hell. But then like a year later goes by and we still kind of linking up here and there. It's really cool.
And eventually he already had like made friends with Melrose and Apollo through either uni or just going to gigs and stuff, and he introduced me to those two.
I was studying music at QT at the time, and then I just come back from LA where I was just surrounded by a bunch of like super hungry driven people. Like I went there to meet up with a homie who was going to a production school, Icon at the time, and I was just hanging out with him and all his friends, and like it was real dope. And they were all super young, super hungry, and then I just came back to Brisbane and like the energy felt completely flat, and I was like, oh wow, like I need to find someone who's gonna give me this like this dope energy or like whatever, just to kind of get myself into the scene and introduce myself to people. I had been going to like every single local show. 2017 there was a show almost every single weekend. Yeah, I saw that P was going there at the time and he looks cool, so I hit him up on the gram and I was like, we should link up. And then he's like, oh, do you want to come have a jam like at my house maybe in like a week or something? Penciled me into his schedule. Like him and his schedule's on his iPhone, crazy. And I was like, oh man, this guy's legit. Like he has to find a spot for me.
I met Professor Paul at university. We were both studying a creative industries course. I was also studying law as well. I came in late and I joined his group and we clicked, which is rare for me at uni because that was one of the few times I actually went to class. I hung out with him. He's a very talented guitar player, so we clicked really well and started making music, and then he told me one day he wanted to try rapping, which was new for him. I was making beats. I sent him a few beats. I remember it being I sampled Frank Sinatra, which is a sin, and I'll never do that again. I'm so sorry, Frank. But I sampled a Frank Sinatra song and I sent it to him, and he rapped on it, and it was terrible. Not like he was bad, but I was just as bad too. But that song still exists somewhere. So we were making stuff, and he had some other friends who were doing music.
Order literally started from us just freestyling, just at Prof P's old house.
We magically all came over one night. I don't know why or how. It was just like everybody, I think maybe I was like, oh yeah, everybody come over. And we all just ended up freestyling and talking shit. And I think by the end of the night, Elsid Apollo was already like talking about a group. Like he was like, oh, like wouldn't it be wild if we were in like some group or some shit? And like in the back of my mind, I was like, ah yeah, that's a fucking lot of work, you prick. Like I was like.
And Sabby and Melrose are very like, they were just on the ball when it came to new music. They just knew everything. And they were like, oh, have you guys seen Brockhampton? And me and P were like, nah, who the fuck's Brockhampton?
I came to the house and I'd just seen Brockhampton's Gold, Sab had also seen it, and we were chatting about it, and I said, man, we should do something like that. Like, we need to, like, we're all rappers, like, we should make something like that. Not like Brockhampton, but we should do that, because we're already doing that. We just, like, we can make a video in our street, and so we decided to start making songs together. And the first song we ever made was called Star Wars, because it had all these laser sounds in it.
Tell me that she love me, I said I don't hand solo.
Oh, well, I got to get
No, we don't need to bring this in.
Yeah, we'll have to get it off to get the other mics.
Oh wait, should we bring it in?
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Let's just bring everything.
Yeah, because the other boys got their merch in.
Yeah.
Fucking tattoos. I fucking love those though.
That's like a proper grail, and some cunts like full on just destroyed it. Kind of looks like me in my prime. When I used to be sports
in your prime. Back when I was a young man.
It's a fucking op shop, bro. Yeah, bro.
It's actually the coolest.
That's the first of many times you'll hear Finn make that joke.
Yeah.
This is an op shop.
Nah, when we played it last time, I heard like, people would be like, are you playing at the fucking op shop?
Oh, VINNIES. Dude, I didn't even make that connection. To a lane. I'm telling you. My brain is slow, guys. Like,
His brain is slow.
you can't say that. Only I can say that. Nah, it's true though.
Boys setting up. The lads setting up. J up. This is what we're best at, right? This is what we're best at.
1, 2, 3.
Order!
Right, do you want me to start out? No, you guys go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Step out the door, motherfucker, I'm shining. Looking kinda rough, but baby, I'm a diamond. No petrol in the car, but I'm still driving it. So why don't you ride with me? Step out the door, motherfucker, I'm shining. Looking kinda rough, but baby, I'm a diamond. No petrol in the car, but I'm still driving it. So why don't you ride with me?
My accent changed, no accident. What an act, I was capped to the maximum. Now I'm tapped in and taking off like NASA. Bonafide motherfucker living by the acronym. So I stay chill, lay back, needle in the haystack. If we get the publishing, then we getting the playback. I just wanna handle on the clubs like a caveman. Cleaning up the record like I went and bought the Ajax.
This is so good.
Stay on the low, don't his head better watch where you go. If you don't get it, I say it was slow.
Get the fuck out my way!
There he is.
A belt.
Oh,
yeah,
like that unbuttoned.
Oh, chest hair.
Kick your bitch, I'll heal you on my doctor. Then I make you sick again.
How many pairs of headphones do we have?
I got one pair.
Really good, son. Really good, sir.
Thanks.
Fantastic. You too. Really good. Really good from you. Good hustle over here. You too. Real good.
As we're doing it, we can talk through what this house was, because this will be the last time we're in this fucking house. This used to be Elson's room. Well, 2 rooms. And this was where the studio was.
So we made Chester.
It's where we made Chester, in here and in this room. This is where Chester actually happened. And like, there was a couch here and like neon fucking lights all through here. So you'd come in at like 2 o'clock in the morning and it'd usually be Elsid and another friend of ours, Sam. And they'd just be fucking fucking pumping through the wall. It was cooler, like it was dope. And no one there were houses there, no one could hear, weirdly. We got a noise complaint about the air conditioning being on, but not about the music, so we're doing something right. When I left for Canada, I left the lease, so I thought I'd be jet setting and going about the world, you know, thinking I was gonna be a fucking success. And then I came home. I haven't had a job for a 1.5 years, probably. So music's kind of the only thing I can do. But like music is kind of it. It's kind of what we do and we barely make a cent from it, but like I'd rather be living in a shithole and barely making ends meet but having fun. At the moment anyway. Oh, I'm probably gonna cry. It's fucking sad. This used to be a great house. Now this is gonna suck. Oh boy, this is my room, or what used to be my room. My bed was here. It was a queen size. It went from here to here. And then my desk was here. And that was my studio. Pretty much all of Chester was me sitting here and the guy sitting on the bed for however long and just kind of doing it that way. It was crazy times. But yeah, I made Suburbia in here. I was making the beat and Els had poked his head, as he would do, around the door and was like, dude, what is this? That, like, I was like already playing with that. And he's like, dude, this is crazy. Was this a Rolex in here? No Rolex. He's like, this is crazy. This is something special. And I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. But like, I finished it that day. Must have been 2018. And then I wrote the hook. And then yeah, that was it. And then Elson came in the next day. I showed him the song, and he recorded. And then we showed it to the boys. And then that was around the time that Sean was like going hard at his uni exams, trying to get into med. So he didn't get back. He didn't get a verse back for a while, and P didn't get a verse back for ages. But when they came back, they were just phenomenal. And then yeah, every song was started right there. Every song from Chester, from before Chester, and a lot from after Chester. All in that little space. So I don't think it's going to be particularly historical or anything, but to me that's kind of a lot. To think that was all here.
We all sweaty? Yeah, we're sweaty. Feeling hot? Just chill out. Just go. Peace signs, put the peace signs up. Peace signs after peace signs up. Peace signs after peace signs up. Peace signs after peace signs. I'm never fitting, so I had to stand out. Always was a loser, never fit in with the crowd. Never invited to the parties, but now I'm at the after. And she talking to me, asking what she's doing at the hours. Doing at the hours. Doing at the hours. Doing at the hours. Yeah. Flip the gooses, got my piece.
So this is the basement, or the garage I should say. This is where we had our 2 house party shows to celebrate our EP release, which we released during COVID, which was fun. So couldn't play any shows, but yeah, it was really good just to play live again. Like we hadn't played since March, and then we were just like, oh, how do we do this? How do we play in front of people? We just dropped an EP that no one's got to see live. And then we were just like, fuck it, let's just throw a house party. I think restrictions had just lifted and we were allowed like 50 people at the house. So we just, yeah, it was fucking sick. So good. So we shot, yeah, our last music video that we ever shot in this house was Peace.exe. Did like a bunch of the UV shit just in this like tight little alleyway. We made really good use of the space. Like this is the bathroom that P like puts his little grills in and like wraps in front of the mirror. Oh yeah, we wilded out in this like little space here where the laundry was. And then this backyard. I miss this place, but fuck this place also. And yeah, this whole week's been fucked. Fucking terrible. I just fucking, yeah, been here by myself, so. And it's just been like a culmination of like me just fucking, I don't know, haven't been good for a while, so it's fucking, this week just really piled it on. And I just realized there's just a lot of things that I need to change. And yeah, I'm getting back there, fucking, I don't know. Will be sweet. I've had a bit of a big lull in my life, so this is like the kick up the arse that I really needed.
What's up, motherfucker? Scream what's up, motherfucker? I gotta give everything that I can. Singing the house until I get a win. From me to sleeping and rapping again. From me to sleeping and hungry again. Bitches on this cause I'm never content. I know another and addicted to success. Fame and the money just wanted to flex. Running this race until I am dead. I feel dead, all this stress. Let me go crazy, I'm probably a mess. Running around town with my skateboard and either way more easy to clear my head. Fresh to the best, the best of the best. Up in my head, I accept the less. I'm trying to garner respect with my friends, but really I want to be happy again.
Get ready for Selfish Songs, it's about to get wild as fuck.
So many, like down to like family and stuff. Like my parents have always been big inspos for me. So originally we're from South Africa and we moved here when I was about 10 years old, and yeah, just seeing like the shit that they've gone through and how they just pushed and pushed and basically came out with scars but like came out on top. That's always just been inspiring me and like something that I keep in the back of my head whenever I'm doing shit or whenever I'm like, oh, this is a challenging thing to do.
So obviously being a Filipino, there's a karaoke machine in the house, as always. My dad loved karaoke, incredible singer. So I just grew up like around music. He loved music, so I listened to a lot. I grew up to Elvis, Tom Jones, Matt Monroe, Frank Sinatra, and he would just sing them all on karaoke. So I would just get into that and I just sang. There was like this special machine called Magic Sing. Every Philo knows it, but it scores you, and I'd get hundreds. So I knew I was alright. I knew I was alright.
I've been going back and listening to punk music that I only touched the surface of when I was learning guitar and really getting inspired. So recently because all I listened to from punk really when I started growing up, and I first heard it was when I was maybe like 7 or 8, and I got a burnt CD of Simple Plan, and Mum played it in the car for me, and I was like, drugs. I was like, this is the best shit ever. I was like, I went to school that day and I remember being to my friend, I was like, you ever heard like teenagers making music? It's fucking sick. I remember saying that. I was like, teenagers making music. That's the funniest description of punk I've ever thought of before, but I just loved it.
My biggest influence, I think, is Gorillaz. The album Demon Days was like the first album that I like was obsessed with, and like I had that on my Walkman every night for like 3 years, like just obsessed with that album, and still am. I think it's like absolutely brilliant. But as the years went on, I became really obsessed with Jay Dilla in making beats and in making hip hop that was a bit out of the ordinary and was weirdly, you wouldn't know it was him unless you looked it up, but then when you'd see it, you'd be like, of course, because that's my favorite one. Amy Winehouse is like a huge influence on me because her storytelling is insane. Like her lyrics are like so literal. And I think until then I'd never heard anyone sing so literally about like her day or her relationship or whatever.
And my other inspiration, Frederick Douglass, freed slave, abolitionist, American citizen, the reason that Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery was because of that guy. He's the definition of someone who escaped all odds and like, yeah.
Gwen Stefani, Benny Blanco does like 4.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Hudson, they're all like and the guy
Yeah.
he's like
Travis Scott, he did Goosebumps with Kendrick Lamar, and I produced it. So, yeah.
We're not very together tonight. First show vibes. El doggy dogs. How are you?
Pretty cool and unlike anything else in Australia right now, so
So why don't you ride with me? Step out the door, and I'm shining, looking kinda rough, but baby I'm a diamond. I'm controlling the car, but I'm still driving it. So why don't you ride with me? This is just a rebound. Good on the night, good on the night. Yeah, no, I can't love nobody else. Fucking hate myself. 'Cause we tried at least 1,000 times. Yeah. We tried. Y'all ready to turn up? Fiction or non-fiction? I'm a second generation immigrant. My parents came so I wouldn't stop. I got given all these options, but all I wanted was to be a star. When I saw my parents, boy, I scared enough to death. Why you wanna take a risk? There ain't no safety limit this. What I wanna do is for my parents, so they do not get embarrassed. When the people ask questions, asking if I am successful, I want them to say that he doing great. You should see him up on the stage. The way he worked, he made it all work. And all that he got, boy, he deserved. Greatest takes time, it's the mantra. But I wanna get big Bruce back. What? Sing it. Greatest takes time, it's the mantra. Well, fucking say it. Listen, never had it all when I was growing up, but I always had it to go on like a neon. Bitches trying to be on, but I'm gonna take it so far like a peon. Nothing I've been number 4, but I score on the board. So whenever everyone is dead on the floor, we ain't gonna try though, this is all I know. Take a step down, turn close to the grind, no, get an award. Yes, no! Like the basic, you become now. Somehow, just to find out. Making the minds to be doing what's right. Whoa! Take control of my life, yo! Cause the shit that I like, mo! Talk with the mic and you know, getting it all when the time's right. Go! Greatest takes time, it's a mantra. What? But I wanna get big Bruce Banner. Yeah. Greatest takes time, it's a mantra. But I wanna get big Bruce Banner. Yeah. Greatest takes time, it's a mantra. But I wanna get big Bruce Banner. Greatest takes time, it's a mantra. But I wanna get big Bruce Banner. I'm a pathogen in the lab with a bit of pad in Africa with the past. I just don't have to grasp the past. And he raps! The past on the track, I'm not gonna ask, and I lasted it from mastery for the trap with the fast rap, cause the fast rap and it's mad. Been there when I done that, and I'm that. Been there when I done that, and I'm that. Ha, 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 ha. SAP and I swerve though. K-Time's my third, huh? VINNIES my first show. Blue looks like Inferno. I can only see the third row. Fuck it, I just let it burn, bro. Well, this takes time, it's a mantra. But I wanna get big Bruce Banner. You got it!
the mantra, but I wanna get big Bruce better. Go, go, get it on the top. Go, go, get it on the top. Take it over my life, yo. It's the shit that I like, mo. Go, go, get it on the top. Savvy, where the fucking kids stuff. Bitch, I thought I told you I ain't thinking for the police stuff. I let my music for you, this is for my click stuff. Shout out to my residential members, you ain't it though. Now I got my niggas speaking everything I whipped up. Knocking on my front door and they're asking for my info. So I told them not to tell you I should do the shit, bro. You should click my link, bro. Double red. I know this shit should go to the they wanted all the music to stop.
It starts away. It's just a showcase showing you, baby. I'm trading all my trophies to get your place. This is just a showcase showing you, baby. I'm trading all my trophies to get your place. And I know it's not ready to put it in. I got something I wanna get off my chest. I got something I wanna get off my chest. What? I got something I wanna get off my chest. I got something I wanna get off my chest. Jokers cannot knock on this. Knock who's there on the 66. So we more confident. Copy kings copying. Why they steady jocking us? I don't know, man. All I know is that they fucking shit. Just to get to you. Baby, you're so fine, fine. Just to get to you, I was where's the fun? Feeling like up for a minute. I've been at night, nigga, girls and I get it. But I don't wanna waste time, wanna FaceTime anymore. So I'm strapping my mind, I grab the bag out the door. Got a feeling I ain't felt in a long time. Guessing that you feel it too, cause you ain't online. When I walk up to the porch, I hear sound jam. Smell the candles in the room, it's going down right, yeah. I never wanna be like this. Restrictions are lifted, they granted my wish. I finally feel safe when I'm taking a picture, girl. I just really wanted to kiss. We can cook up in my big cages, same amount of wages, struggle with the changes, money. On the basic, I just changes, statements, outrageous, it's always shows me. Oh, fuck. Baby, it's too fine. Just to get to you, I would rest fine. This is my baby. Baby, it's too fine, fine. Just to get to you, I would rest fine, restrictions are lifted, baby, restrictions are lifted. The borders are open, so I'm coming over, cause baby, restrictions are lifted. I got a phone and shirts, crickets. I got pulled over, ticket. But I consider you to be an essential visit. Things are not so desperate, and I just watch them happy news. Just win on the day and sample when I do come through, come through. Restrictions are lifted. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Ride around town like some birdie. Hey! Nobody's here! Tell me what's up? Tell me what's up? Tell me what's up? I'm the principal. I'm the enemy. I'm the police. Let's fucking tell them to fuck up here. We're ready. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, let's go. I'm ready to clap this up. You ready to clap this up? We ready to clap this up. They ain't nothing but this up. I'm ready to clap this up. You ready to clap this up? What? We ready to clap this up. Okay. We're ready to clap this up. We want to shout out Selfish Sons and the band VINNIES for having us and doing this with us. It's fucking awesome. Love y'all. Good night.
Fucking hell. So good.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time like just being a bit of a sad boy, being real hard on myself. But like being with the boys really helps me out, like, you know. And even if we're not making music together in the future, I know that we'll always be like, we're like family. So just as long as they're around me in any capacity, you know, I'm very happy with that. And I know we'll always have each other's backs regardless of whatever the situation is. So